I've seen the same thing. These principles are very much in keeping with the literature. They're in keeping with what we do in Montessori as well with the children. But parents that I have met, that it's almost like there's a misinterpretation, or they're not really quite sure what, how, this kind of thing. And then there are other schools, not Pacific Oaks, but that kind of follow the RIDE principles. And then what the feedback I've gotten from parents is that, oh, it's so scary because the children are not, there aren't limitations on things. So it's like the teachers are standing back, and so the children are hurting each other, and they're 4 and 5, and they're not,
right?
And so that's actually why I'm here, because I wanted to find, this is only what I have heard, and obviously I haven't seen that, so I can't attest to whether or not any of that is true. But this is what I have heard. So
I would never let children hurt each other.
Yeah,
I would never.
You don't seem like the kind of person who would. And so I think those are the.
But you could extrapolate, from the fact that I didn't stop one baby from touching the other baby's face.
Right.
That I'm going to let a toddler, grab the child's face in that aggressive sort of thing. No.
Yeah.
No. And in terms of like the sharing, the allowing children to learn, how to be together. I'll let babies take toys from each other. They don't care. They need to learn how to hold on to something if they want to keep it. But when a toddler gets to the stage where I can take anything I want and I'm gonna, then I move in and start saying, well, I know you're really strong and you could take that, but I'm not going to let you because she's using it. I have two sets of values. One set includes I want children to feel empowered to go out in the world to get what they want. I don't want to start fine-tuning them before they have a sense of agency in the world. And I also don't want to disempower children from holding on tight if somebody's trying to take their toy. So if I'm the grown-up and I go in every time somebody wants to take a toy and I'm a little timid, I never learn to say, no, you can't have it, I'm holding it, right? But if a child is at a stage where they're really testing, is it really okay for me to just go through grabbing everybody's toys? I'm going to take a hierarchy of values and go, you know what, it's more important right now for this child to learn it's not okay to take toys all the time than it is for those children to learn to hold on tight. I can work on that with them, with a different child. But this child that's in a toddler, power mode, and testing what's appropriate. I think they're asking to be limited. I think you can read it and go, this child is going, I can do this. Is this really okay? Can I really do this?
That's how they feel safe, those limitations.
Right.
It's the irony of it. They act as if they want to be in charge. But if you let them be in charge, then you have a dysfunctional family structure.
Exactly.
And then they feel out of control.
Right.
They don't feel safe. So those parameters are
100%
really
agree. And what you do with a 1-year-old does not translate to what you do with a 3-year-old. And I think that's where sometimes, because RIDE classes end, around age 2, they think that you can keep applying the principles in exactly the same way that you did when they were younger. And it doesn't negate how appropriate those principles were when they were younger. But what it does do is go, a 3-year-old is a completely different kind of being than a 1-year-old.
Yes.
That being needs to be handled in a different way, and talked to in a different way.
Right.
And, have limits set in a different way. So, I think as a parent, I did that. I made the mistake of thinking that it would be thwarting my daughter's, independence, autonomy, and creativity to stand up for myself.
Right.
And fortunately, I had a stepmother and a father and a husband who were smarter than me. And they sat me down and said, it's not good for her, for you to let her do that to you. Because I was feeling guilty that I wasn't spending enough time with her. I was in school, and they went, nobody spends more time than you. Nobody gives better attention than you. You need to tell her no. Yeah. And and the thing is, I had an older child that I didn't have that problem with because he was easier. Yeah. He was just if I gave him a reason for not doing something, he'd not do it. Not the second one. So I learned I had to change my style of parenting to fit the child that I had in front of me, and it was hard for me. But I think I managed to get her raised up. She's 19 now. She teaches at Pacific Oaks in the summertime, so yeah. So,
well, you know what? I wanted to know how you deal with siblings. I know that there was, you had the slide of the standing up diapering, and I've had women sit in front of me who brought their almost 2-year-olds into session, and they're chasing them around while they're trying to talk to me, trying to diaper them. Now I actually had a 5-year-old and 2 3-year-olds at the same time myself.
What? Twins.
Yes, I have twins and an older, and that was my configuration. There was no way I could diaper 2 2-year-olds or potty train with the oldest. I don't.
What do you mean there was no way you could do it?
Well,
you
I
did
couldn't.
it.
Well, I couldn't. I made them lay down. I could not chase them around the room and respectfully diaper them.
It's not about chasing them around the room. It isn't. It's about what Anna Tartar's talks about is points of reference. That this is where we change the diaper. Now, I had a mom who really went through the process. You were saying, what do you do when they won't be still for the diaper change or do this? And she had a really good methodology. And she said, I picked a time when I had all the time in the world to get him to cooperate with me. And we just went into the bathroom, which is where they did the stand-up diaper changes. He had a little pad he would stand on for the stand-up diaper changes. And he was resisting, and I just pleasantly stayed there and said, okay, well, we'll stay here as long as you need to stay here until you're ready to change your diaper. And she said, I had to do that once.
Yeah, I see.
But it's like that consistent limits. It's like when I say it's really time to change the diaper now, we're going to go to where we change the diaper, and you're not going to have options to go playing with your brother or doing something.
I think what I'm trying to get at is how inadequate as a mother it starts to make you feel when you think, oh, I'm not respecting this, I'm not doing it right, I'm not doing,
love covers a multitude of sins, as they say. If the quality of your communication is pleasant and positive, nobody can do it all perfect. Nobody needs a perfect mom. Nobody needs a formula. I mean, you don't have to raise your child and fit every. I didn't do everything Magda recommended. I did different things too. So
it seems like it's not so much when parents get caught up in what we're doing as opposed to how we're doing it, and how that quality that you're talking about and that interaction is
right.
important. So with my daughter, my second one, sounds a lot like your daughter. My son was.
This is going to go on some website.
But she would run from doing the diaper changing, and we had our designated place, we had our place of reference, we had everything, and she just refused to cooperate. And I would finally just, I would talk to her the whole time. It's time to change your diaper. You keep running away. I'm going to lay you down, and I would restrain her with my feet, and I would laugh at her and go, well, we're doing, and I would tell her every step of the way what we're doing, letting her know, we're not, and she would actually just end up laughing. But it's that kind of thing where I wasn't going to feel out of control myself and hostage to a 2-year-old,
right?
But giving that respect at the same time. So there's that feeling your way through that. I think in terms of the how that we do it.
I said this to Kathy earlier, and there are a lot of misinterpretations of Rye. But the very first thing that I learned about in Rye, and I was told that this is what Magda taught, was that we don't want to do anything to undermine the confidence of the mother. And so I think that is important to say. It's we wouldn't want these classes or the philosophy to, make you feel like you're not doing it right. I mean, that's the worst thing.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you an example. So Magda has written about sleep, and she was a big believer in children self-regulating, auto-regulating themselves to sleep. And she would recommend Ferber's book or whatever. And that didn't feel good to me. And my kids slept with me. And I think that there's plenty of research to show that, that was a good decision that I made. But I also know that there are families for whom that doesn't work, and they can help their child learn to go to sleep on their own. That I didn't have the internal conviction to do that with my child. Somehow my belief in that model wasn't strong enough to transmit it to my child. I was too ambiguous about the idea of letting her cry herself to sleep. So I couldn't do it, But I also know families who have children who just sleep beautifully in their own cribs, and it's not, it hasn't impact, it's not in drag on their relationship. They have a good relationship. So, what I try to do as a teacher is help parents listen to what their needs are. That's that authenticity value. That authentically speaking, I could not separate from my infant all night long. And I didn't do it, And I didn't go to RI class and brag about it. Exactly, But now I'm telling you, that I think that co-sleeping is a really good choice for many families. So what I do as a teacher is I try to help the parent clarify their own needs. And if they're an attorney and they have to be up and be in court, at such and such a time, and they really can't have a child waking them up all night, then I try to help them find a way to help their child sleep through the night. Even though, that's not what I would do necessarily, I just found out recently that there's a genetic predisposition to feeling like you've been run over by a truck if you don't get enough sleep. And other people don't have that gene and they don't feel that way, but their performance on tasks is about similar. Like they perform about the same on whatever task the researchers gave them, but some of them feel really bad and some of them don't. So I'm one of those people that I don't feel really bad after a bad night's sleep. I can get up and be cheerful. But if I have a parent who isn't like that, how can I counsel them to do what I did? They're them. So, one of the things that I really believe is that body-to-body communication between a parent and a child is very, very powerful. And what I transmit through all of my nonverbal behaviors, my tone of voice, the size of my pupils, the speed or slowness of my movements, all that stuff, the baby is reading. So, we can't help but be, on some level, it comes through, whether it's ambiguity or whatever.
Thank you so much. Could you stay a little bit, maybe?
Sure.
Have some additional questions?
Yeah, if they're not going to throw us out, sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.